Behind the Counter is brought to you by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature. For a free audiobook of your choosing, go to audiblepodcast.com/Andrew. And by Stitcher Radio. Listen on the go via the Stitcher mobile app. For more information, go to stitcher.com/GFQ. All right, hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Behind the Counter. I'm your host, Rich Stambolian, and with me as always is 2013's Oscar winner for Best Supporting Actor, Jonathan Adler.
Hey now.
What's up, bro?
What's happening, man?
Not much, man.
I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever.
I know, it's been about a week.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my band's rockin' show.
Oh, no problem.
Last week.
It's my pleasure.
Andrew, it's okay that you didn't come.
Once again.
He,
I had all intentions, but I had to do Father's Day dinner.
He blew his tire out on the way.
I know. Yeah.
That is not true. That is not true.
I
would never do that
you just
to
got,
you.
Yeah, got a variation of it.
Welcome to...
only Coca.
Oh, man. Can Suncast edit that out?
Momo.
That I would only do... Hey, why didn't you come to my party?
Welcome to your weekly show where we talk about pop culture, comic books, and everything related. But sometimes we end up talking about Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad.
Sometimes Mad Men.
And sometimes Mad Men. We had a great episode last week.
I think that was one of my favorite episodes I've seen so far.
There's a weird, and we also want to extend our condolences to the Gandolfini family.
Yes.
Rest in peace, James Gandolfini. It was kind of a weird thing when you texted me yesterday about him dying because I got almost the same feeling when Macho Man died a couple of years ago, where he's a dude that we always do impressions of.
Yeah. I mean, we love him. We've talked at great lengths about our Gandolfini love.
Oh yeah,
and recently I went through a Sopranos rewatch.
Oh yeah,
I know Ralph is going through a Sopranos rewatch. A lot of people have been catching on HBO a lot. They've been showing it a lot recently.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It was a weird thing, and then I thought it was a hoax, and
yeah, it kind of struck a chord with me too. It was just like because like when you said, like we're all fans. We all love The Sopranos when it was on the air. We like the dude as an actor, and we love doing that voice, man. It's hard not to, So rest in peace, James Gandolfini.
51 years old.
I know, man. Way too young.
How long did it take it? Like when CNN announced it, that's when
what am I doing here?
I don't know. I think you gotta hit that button.
I wanted to watch myself again.
Man, watch your narcissism happen right before your eyes, bro. Give me that playback.
I didn't, because on Twitter it was going all over the place. Like, James Gandolfini's dead. James Gandolfini's dead.
This is the most action I've seen on social media in a long time.
And then TMZ report, I'm like, oh, still, I don't believe it. They're all full. And then CNN, they were doing like this really important segment. And I saw that the the broadcaster started doing weird head movements. I'm like, oh, they're talking to her in her ear. And she brushed, they were talking about something really, it was like, okay, thanks a lot. We just want to report that James Gandolfini has died. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Stinks.
And I think John broke the news legitimately for everybody.
No, my girlfriend broke the news to me.
Oh, wow. Because you're very connected. Like when you're connected, you're connected.
I know.
And I got that text and maybe 5 minutes later, we're sitting at a bar. We're meeting a photographer for our wedding, and 5 minutes later, all of a sudden, it's all over the TV, and the dudes behind me are like, "Oh my God, Tony Soprano was dead! Can you believe that?"
I was knee deep at work, so that's the only reason why I didn't get it at the moment it broke.
Well, I hope he's eating a big sausage and Pepper Hero.
Dreaming about that thing.
Up in heaven.
Did they say what happened exactly?
A big heart attack.
Yeah.
He was on vacation in Italy, and he had a gigantic heart attack.
Wow.
Was
he with his family?
I believe so.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. But life goes on, right?
Yeah, apparently.
So, give me some news, bro.
News! The only thing really notable this week is, we'll talk, as we go into some of the stuff we talked about, we'll talk about later. We're going to go into some of the kind of announcements. But the big news that just kind of broke before we came on the air was that to quell everyone's fears, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in at least another Iron Man and another Avengers.
Yeah, another 2 Avengers.
Yeah, the big guarantee is that he's going to be in at least 2 and 3. So more than likely that's the Whedon trilogy. Wherever they're going with it, he'll be a part of it.
So we're getting at least 10 more years of Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
I think he's exhausted, man.
I think so too. And I also think by the time that last movie wraps up, man, he's gonna look old.
Yeah, he'll probably. I think he'll retire after that.
Like retire from acting.
Yeah,
or just from being Tony Stark.
Oh, definitely from Tony Stark. I think he may take a step back. Maybe do a bunch of Shane Black movies. This is the thing I keep on forgetting, dude. So Shane Black, who you know I love. I enjoyed his Iron Man 3 very much, so as opposed to many other people. Did you know that he's in Predator also? He's the guy who tells my favorite joke in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
That's him?
That's Shane Black.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
That was like his moment. I also, weird little thing with Predator, because I'll whatever Predator stuff I can find out about, I share it.
Yeah.
Because Predator is the best movie of all time.
Predator is pretty fantastic.
I saw like I watched some behind the scenes video with Jesse Ventura and Arnold.
Oh, that's a great video.
And about Jesse saying how he had he saw the scene with Apollo and Arnold doing the bicep,
the super handshake,
and Jesse's like, my bicep's bigger than Arnold's. So he had wardrobe measure his arm, and he's like, oh yeah, you're like 16, you're bigger than Arnold. And they cut to Arnold. His arm's like, yes, I told them to tell him that his bicep was bigger. And then we did, we made a bet over a bottle of champagne, and we showed our biceps, and my bicep was much bigger.
A lot of wrestlers.
It was so, because Ventura is so ridiculous, and he doesn't break the Predator character at all.
No. Oh, I told Schwarzenegger, my bicep is way bigger.
I can't do Ventura. At all. I can't do an Arnold, but I can't do a Ventura.
It's like because Ventura has he just has a Minnesota accent.
Yeah, he's a cartoon, especially now because it's weird because I do separate Weirdo Conspiracy Ventura against
the body.
Yeah,
sexual. It's the same person.
The sexual Brontosaurus of Jesse Ventura. Anyway, it's my digression about Predator.
Clearly his arms are not bigger than mine.
There you go. Good one.
He drank that bottle of champagne in one sip too.
No problem.
I've got the boys all over Carl Weathers.
Screw you, Carl Weathers.
I love Predator. Predator is one of my favorite movies growing up, which I think should never be touched. My fiance actually saw it for the first time 2 years ago.
I remember.
And
she's blown away.
She loved it.
Well, because it looks great.
The first one and the second.
The first one
is the best.
I like the second one, but the first one is just rocking,
classic, man.
It looks fantastic, and I think they reissue it almost every single year to keep it up to date because I've never seen a bad copy of a Predator.
Always looks good.
So good. Like Lawrence Arabia. Watch Lawrence Arabia now on a blue screen, on a Blu-ray. Sick.
I'm watching on a blue screen too.
Blue screen that sucker.
What other news bits we got this week?
That's it, man.
Yeah.
It's dry as a bone out there.
All right, so let's talk about what we came here to talk about: comic books.
And
let's talk about Age of Ultron. And Age of Ultron number 10 is a big point of derision between fans and the both of us, apparently, because
I don't know what the fans are saying about this.
The fans are also very divided. Where they're
4.5 from CBR.
Really?
Yeah.
It's getting a lot of flack from a lot of fans, which I've read
Rightfully
on the internet chatter. Who are more on your side, I feel, because I remember you texted me the other day. We were like, "This is terrible. This is awful."
To be blunt, I read it when it leaked. It leaked heavy on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts, man. Yeah. And that was the weird thing about that is it's through social media, it's such an announcement to make, but you shouldn't really make it.
No.
Because as soon as I got on, as soon as I got on Twitter the other day, it was Age of Ultron leaked today. What do we do about this? And then everybody sees that and they're like, oh, give it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, because I think it could have been leaked by Marvel themselves too, but it was a really shoddy copy of it. So this wraps up the Age of Ultron storyline, which I'll talk about a little bit later too. It's a weird, one of the weirder miniseries I've read in a long time.
Yes.
And when you talk about sticking the landing, they did not stick the landing at all with this book.
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
Okay.
Which I'm right about. I think it was a complete and utter mess.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of a satisfying climax, a surprise, wrapping up loose ends. This being the final Bendis book that he's touching the Avengers on, really.
Right.
This is coup de grace when it comes to his Avengers run. I think it was a failure.
Okay.
Utterly, completely,
top to bottom, total
piece of
failure.
garbage.
Okay.
Piece of garbage.
The entire miniseries.
And if you can, I'm a firm believer in if you really screw up the ending, it sours it. I love the middle of it. I love the Wolverine, Sue Storm stuff. That's the best part. The beginning, I was, when it got to the point where it reveals Vision, great, that was cool. But it was still shoddy. And then this part where they had to bring it all together, it didn't work. And here's my reason. This is a firm believer why it doesn't work.
Let's go.
So this was a story that was written many moons ago that was supposed to come out, really at the end, like maybe a year ago, but it just didn't happen. So, and what's his name? Who's the guy that did it first? That drew it first? Hitch.
Yeah.
Right. So Brian Hitch said on record that I'm doing the first like 4 issues, and then they're bringing in multiple artists for whatever reason. Mainly because the story, Bendis never finished the story.
Okay.
So I think it was originally supposed to be a very tight 6-issue miniseries that had no, run off into other titles. And they said, screw it. You know what? Let's make it 10. We can kind of bookend these other, attach these other things to it. Okay. Make it, everyone loves time travel. Everyone loves alternate realities. Just throw all that in there. And they had nowhere to go with it, except for it being a commercial for what's coming next, to some degree.
Okay, and what's coming next?
So what's coming next? So our big thing was apparently. Well, I like the fact they show Thing as Blackbeard. They show basically through all the time travel stuff. Time is now completely destroyed, is damaged.
Right.
The realities are messed up. We're seeing some weird shift, which it makes me nervous because it looks like it's going into a crisis mode.
Okay.
But the big thing is they have this one little piece where they show Ultimate Spider-Man, swinging through the air, Miles Morales, and then you see, our Galactus show up in their universe.
Right, and that leads into Hunger number 1.
Next page, Hunger number 1, full page ahead. And then the thing that we already knew was going to happen is Angela from Spawn showing up in the very thing. And like, come on, I don't care what you say about the book. Did that feel natural at all with that Angela page?
No.
That was like this. Oh yeah, we've always had the idea that Angela was going to show up. It was completely a PS in terms of story.
Yeah. Well, I know you wanted it to just
organic,
like be more organic, and also like to kind of get fooled by the comics industry in where that actual page was, like you said, Marvel Man.
Yeah.
Which would have been cool. I didn't have a problem with issue number 10. I didn't have a problem with most of the Age of Ultron story. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it should, like, that is one story that should have been contained. I could have done without the Angela thing. Yes. I could have done without, or do it in a different way where you just see a silhouette and then the reveal is that she's in Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think would have had more impact.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I'm here and whoever did this to me is gonna pay. That was freaking Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I think the issue, the whole story tried to do too much. I think it, like, I usually am a big fan of, like, really trying to spin as many plates and doing it successfully.
Right.
Hickman does it very well. Remender does it very well. Bendis, he's very straightforward when it comes to a lot of storytelling. And plus, I think me personally, and I think you're probably to some degree as well, you're suffering a little bit of Bendis burnout when it comes to the Avengers because you know kind of where he's taking the characters, and he definitely proved that with this story. But like, there were elements that really didn't need to take up story real estate in terms of like the Moon Knight, Black Widow stuff. Really didn't need to be put into it. The whole Fury, the Red Hulk, Captain America, all them traveling, to do that other, their other plan,
mission, right?
Doesn't need to be in the storyline. It was all just kind of placeholders for where he thinks story should be going, but it really just peers off. I mean, it's on paper, it's an Ultron storyline,
right?
Well, how much of it was really about Ultron,
right?
It really, and like the final battle, like the recording thing, and he's like, "I got you, turn off that Ultron."
See, I kind of like that. I like the combination of it, but it went a little out of bounds at certain points, which were okay. Like they were palpable. I really enjoyed the last issue through Hank Pym's kind of realization of like, this is how I get out of the situation. I also like that the old school Avengers addressed the fact that Wolverine broke everything, and that it's basically his fault. And they also, in addition to that, say like, we do this all the time, and I guess it took its toll. Like, I wonder what's going to happen. And it kind of leaves it open a little bit because you had that 2-page spread of Hank Pym's brain melting. And where he saw like everything. He's like looking at the iPad and he's like, what?
Yeah.
And he saw everything happen. But then you got to look at the regular Marvel multiverse. You had Spider-Man 2099. He's going to come back soon. You had Hyperion's world.
Yeah.
You had I believe
The Ultraverse.
the Ultraverse.
No, they weren't in there.
The not Days Future Past. What am I thinking of? Maybe like an Age of Apocalypse. There was like
Yeah,
an
they
X-Men
had
thing
all
in
that
there.
stuff in there.
And
The Exile stuff was there.
yeah, and then like the big one was Galactus showing up on which I think that's how they're gonna wrap up the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, they're destroying the Ultimate Universe. That's like, I think this is the set in stone at this point.
And I think they'll save
Ultimate Spider-Man, which I think is stupid. I think that Ultimate Spider-Man coming, that's the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because this is exactly what I did not want to happen with Ultimate Spider-Man. I still enjoy that book very much. I do not like the idea of what they're going to be doing with him, because they're sticking with the Black Avengers group. You hear about this book? So I forgot the writer on it. He's not bad at all. They're making this book called Mighty Avengers, and it's a predominantly black team.
Okay,
and I have no problem against that. It's it's Luke Cage, Photon, the other Captain Marvel, the
Misty Knight.
Yeah, it's not Misty Knight.
No.
She might be on the group.
Okay.
And a bunch of Blue Marvel, that guy that they keep on requesting, but his story sucked anyway. And so it's like all these like black characters, and they said, well, they have one Ronin. So I knew Ronin in there.
Okay.
And they said there's Spider-Man in it, but more than likely it's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Miles Morales.
Yeah, that's going to be the big surprise, and going to sell that book.
But
do we really need another addition to the Spider-Man universe, especially from that poor kid? Like, I don't want to see him in this universe. I really enjoy this coming of age story.
Yeah. It's excellent. Do I have a problem with it? No. I think it leads to a lot more storytelling, but I really want to see what's going to happen in Ultimate. That's one of my favorite books. That book makes it to the top of the pile every time it comes out.
Yeah.
But it definitely makes you think that Galactus is just going to eat everything.
Yeah, I think and which is also dumb too, because you have a remnant of the universe left over, hanging out in the world. They're going to end up bringing it back eventually,
right?
And they have a better story idea, which is, I don't know. I think it should have, when they did that big Cataclysm thing.
Yeah,
I think that should have been the true
end of the Ultimate when Magneto sank New York.
Yeah,
like years ago.
I wish it wasn't that story, but I think they should have done something on that scale where it just really, because they really did clear the table. I just don't. Well, with everything they're doing in Marvel Universe right now, there's almost every single major storyline is either having to do with an alternate reality in time.
Right.
So it's not just the Wolverine thing. It's like, that's where I think Age of Ultron makes sense in the larger tapestry, in terms of there's all this stuff, like there's the new Avengers stuff with them screwing with these other realities, and and then there's the Avengers stuff with like the map makers and all that stuff, and like all these big like universal things. Then we have the Thanos thing, which is always coming from this.
And you have Uncanny Avengers 2, which is also dealing with
exactly
what was like the 7 futures?
The seven possible futures. So all the Kang stuff. So you have all this stuff happening all at once. So it makes sense. And it seems like whatever Infinity is going to be, which is the next big crossover, is going to deal with obviously Infinity realities, and more than likely how we see in New Avengers, we see like Terrax from another universe being pulled into him. Like I believe that Thanos's like heralds are going to be guys from other realities, like other versions of, not other versions of him, but people who are like him.
Right. Okay. I'll agree with that. In the grand scheme of things, I think that's what makes Age of Ultron kind of like work in that sense.
Yeah, but you didn't need that.
You don't think you needed the whole storyline to say that like reality's fractured. This is what's going to come of it.
Yeah, I think you could have. I mean, like I wish the title was just a Wolverine Sue Storm stuff.
Okay.
Story. I don't think it wrapped up everything. I know it's not supposed to, but I think Age of Ultron itself was kind of being sold in the idea that this kind of a tight little story, but that how the progression from the beginning of the issue to the point when you have like, who is it talking? Reed Richards and Tony talking about the state of the universe. It just seems anticlimactic.
Okay.
And Bendis has a bit of a history of doing that, like, having the exposition after the story and just having two guys kind of deflate the story.
Right.
And I don't think a story would hold as much weight as the way that he pulled it in.
Okay.
And I know that Marvel does it a lot when they do springboards. Like I do accept that. Like, and I like it most times, where showing like, okay, this is where we're going in the next step. This seems strictly like a vehicle for that, because it felt so unnatural, especially the Angela thing. I think that was it's the most advertised part, so that's why I'm fixated on it.
Right.
but it's also the most jarring aspect of the book.
So what was up with that big head?
I have no idea. I know so little about Angela. I'm sure you know your extent.
That's the only thing I know is that that I remember also, because I'm sure there was stuff after when I stopped reading Spawn that she appeared in, but she was an angel. She's like a legitimate angel from heaven that hunts demons like Spawn. So now you have
straight up an angel.
She's straight up an angel. So you have this aunt named Angela.
Yeah.
So you have this straight up angel showing up in the Marvel universe saying, hey, whoever took me out of my element is going to pay. And I'm showing up with a giant severed head.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand, It's not a knock. I mean, I'm sure there's fans and kids who read it and they're like, whoa, And, it'll make you buy older books, but I don't understand how the end of this, the little spice at the end is the add-on of her edition.
And also I feel the book is also still haunted, and I firmly believe in this, and I think you do, haunted by the ghost of Miracle Man.
Yes.
I mean, because there's still that one panel from early in the book, which was still drawn by Brian Hitch that time, so it's an earlier, it's whatever incarnation it had earlier on in terms of storyline, that there was some shadowy figure with a cape that could have been, or no, just a floating character that could have been, Miracle Man. They never explained. And even going into the storyline, as they were talking about the big surprise, they were talking about the possibility of Miracle Man. It rears its head every once in a while. Right. But I believe that it really was supposed to be Miracle Man.
See, I would like CBR to do
an expose into this.
The true or false.
Yeah,
stuff on this.
This when it all wraps up,
because you never know.
Well, I think we're at the point, and you'll agree with me I think on this also, the fact that I think we're at the closest point where we're actually going to get Miracle Man show up. I think it's going to happen during Infinity or in the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, because we have Neil Gaiman in the company, and I think that Marvel would only do it unless Neil Gaiman here, because it seems like there's some weird connection between Angela and Miracle Man coming out of this thing.
Yeah,
I think she supplemented him, but I still think they're going to try and work two together, because
that he's going to be the big.
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to be. There's so. I think they're going to do an ode to the old school Miracle Man that that they did with Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore. But I think that because McFarlane still has toe in the water when it comes to the rights of the character, that they're incorporating the. I mean, we both didn't read, but I know about the Man of Miracles storyline didn't Spawn, where they pushed Miracle Man and had a direct connection between him and Angela.
Right.
So I think they're kind of going that route also and keeping those ties from his last incarnation.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. This might be the throwaway leading up to the big reveal.
I hope so.
Or something like that. And I hate to use the word throwaway too, because it's one of those things where I kind of feel weird about hating it. You know what I mean? Because you never know in comics and just like anything else, fans, and we do it too sometimes, tend to jump the gun a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And say, you know what, why?
Yeah.
And I kind of I get a little feeling that maybe once you read the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, all right, it kind of makes sense in a weird way. But at the same time, the fan that wants stuff to be cohesive in my head, just I don't know why so much weight was put. I don't know, I don't think it's the creator's fault either. I think it's the way. Yeah, it was the way it was marketed on the internet, where the more you talk about stuff, even if you say it's not a big deal,
momentum.
It's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be something that people hinge on, which is just kind of the way the brain works,
Oh, absolutely.
Now, in the other the other thing I want to touch on with Age of Ultron 2 is that, don't you isn't that has to be when Thor destroys the body of Ultron, that head that's in the rubble, isn't that the head that's in the Moon Knight miniseries, right? Or no?
It's what I read was that it's the head thing happened before all of this.
Okay.
That this is how it got to that point. Whatever, how they were attacking him and everything like that, with the Intelligenista or whatever.
Yeah.
They acquired the head at the end of the story, at that point.
Okay.
After post Moon Knight. This was kind of at the end of all the Moon Knight stuff. That's why Moon Knight was in the story.
Okay.
But it would make sense if that's how he got his head broken off, that he would go through the Moon Knight storyline.
Right. And then it ends up in LA, and after this is where Moon Knight ends up.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense, because also you were saying this is supposed to be this story was advertised a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And
in terms of that, it would absolutely work.
Yeah, it makes sense, because then the follow up to after somebody found the Ultron head,
post Age of Ultron, it even add more weight to the Moon Knight storyline.
Right. You know, so it's kind of like a weird jumble, but
A mess, dude.
I think what picks up the slack, and I'll agree with you on this, is the 3 Avengers titles with all the alternate reality and all the time travel stuff, which is like from Hickman and Remender. It's an amazing foundation into the future. And this is, and like 3 Avengers titles that come out per month.
Pretty much, New Avengers usually hits on the same week also.
Yeah, and like Uncanny for the most part.
Usually, yeah.
But you're getting 3 amazing titles per month that are like some of the best Avengers stuff like I've ever read.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's different too. It's really different, especially in New Avengers, because it's an Illuminati book basically.
It totally is the Illuminati book. And this was a book that this particular issue was focusing on the Black Panther Namor relationship.
Yeah.
And it was basically like the science of war, you know, like weighing the options of like, you know, I got this grudge, I want to fight this dude, but if I get into it, that means my entire people's gonna get into it. Are we gonna win? Yeah. And some really cool moments in it, and like that book works so well with like the insanity of Avengers, because that book is just so over the top, and also you have gods on that group,
right?
You know, like Thor being a given, but like
Hyperion,
Captain Universe,
yeah.
The best teleporter in the game, and like the best dudes, and
then you have Uncanny, which is
also superstars.
It's all, you know, like you're kind of like the Avengers that you're used to almost, plus with the addition of the mutants of, you know, like Wolverine and then like and you know,
how awesome was that issue?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I think that was my book of the week, was Uncanny, because it was so cool. It was all the right things.
Well, if nobody's been reading Uncanny Avengers, I suggest to pick it up, because it's not too late in the game.
Not at all.
And it's a really insane story at this point, because you have the Apocalypse twins from X-Force that, you know, Remender created through like his Age of Apocalypse continuation storyline where Archangel becomes Apocalypse. And you are tying in the Jason Aaron Thor stuff with his with the axe
and all the post Phoenix Saga stuff,
right? And the post Phoenix Saga stuff, and the fact that Wolverine was on X-Force is being acknowledged,
which is so good.
And Havoc's the leader of the team, and you're still getting after you read this issue, you're like, this is why it never worked between heroes and mutants, because they hate each other, you know, like at the core. And that the whole thing with Captain America basically asking Wolverine, like, did you kill a baby? And
no, he's telling him, like, you killed a baby. Like, I know you killed a baby.
Because I do what I had to do, bub.
But he didn't do it.
Right.
He covered for his people, which is like a great, you know, part of Wolverine.
Yeah, yeah. And they kick him off the Avengers, you know, and like basically saying, like, you have no right to be an Avenger, you're a murderer. And it was all stupid Wasp's fault. You know,
she sucks.
Couldn't deal with it.
She sucks. Dude, the issue was, I mean, like, and exactly what you said, like, you know, the Uncanny X-Force was so good when Remender did it. And it was like, you're reading this, like, this should be a marquee title, and eventually became a marquee title.
Right.
But it still had the handicap that it was a second tier X-Men book. So now you have pretty much next to Avengers, I think, as the book, you know, like that's on the stands. It's kind of like the centerpiece of Marvel right now. Because you've got all these dudes, and then you have, you know, all that crazy stuff, the mythology that came from Uncanny X-Force thrown into there, and it works so well. Yeah. And you have like I never thought I'd have a moment where I have a Mortis telling Captain America that Wolverine killed a kid and unveiling the Uncanny X-Force. Like, I never think of that type of plot element working, because you've had that divide between those two worlds for so long.
Yeah.
And this really, like, because it worked very well in the beginning of Uncanny Avengers, a little bit too well. Like, all right, you know, Wolverine, perfect. Like, this guy is like a great spokesman now.
Right.
Guy owns a school. Havoc, he's kind of like a Captain America, you know.
Of the X-Men.
X-Men. And now we're seeing like the real nitty gritty, because the only type of conflict we were having was the Scarlet Witch Rogue stuff,
right? And
that's great and all, but this really makes it boil over.
Yeah,
and they're doing such a good job with like the Kang and the Apocalypse Twin stuff.
Well, yeah, because it's you know, and like I think the best part about this book is that you could pick it up and there's the perfect amount of exposition that Remender gives, and Remender has he's very gifted when it comes to that. Because like even he did that in the Fear Agent stuff, where like he would give you little bits of like what happened already, you know, and he'll do really excellent little gimmicks to show the fans, you know, like to bring you up to speed and stuff like that. And just the way this guy writes dialogue is amazing, you know. Like he came out and said if it wasn't for the fans who liked him so much on X-Force, he would have left mainstream comics.
Yeah,
you know, and
you can tell.
I'm glad he stuck around. You know,
you could tell he was. I think his Secret Avenger stuff was he was feeling a little bit of burnout. in terms of like juggling two teams at the same time. But this is exactly what he should be doing.
Right.
The guy has, and because he's burnt out a little bit on superhero mainstream books, that he gets to play with the characters in a different way that someone who is like so head over heels with wanting to do a mainstream book like this.
Right. And I always feel like it's hard to do some Kang stuff.
It's always hard to Kang
because he like the Ramatut, and he's going from Ramatut to Kang to Immortus, and the kids, the Apocalypse twins, are trying to get away from Kang. Immortus is trying to help the team out in a weird way.
Yeah. And
it's all leading up to like this unknown factor of like the 7 futures and like what's going to be broken and what's going to still be around.
Well, that's the great thing about it is that they, he did the right thing with the Kang thing, and by limiting Kang's ability, by saying like they're kind of like in this like, this time black hole where they don't know what the futures are going to be.
Right.
He said, and also the twins are trying to kill those 7 possible futures.
Right. Right.
And they're almost there for the most part.
Yeah. That was the other panel, I'm sorry, in Age of Ultron with the fractured brain. It was Bishop.
Yeah.
Because he was like a big time traveler.
Yep.
And it was kind of neat how they just showed like the time travel stuff, and you're getting more of that in
everything.
In everything, and like another part of the Uncanny Avengers, which I thought was great, is that the Apocalypse twins are hiding out using Pym particles.
Yeah, that was a cool idea.
And that they also are getting celestial seeds from different planets and putting them in like beings that they created.
Yeah, they're using they're basically the dude. I don't remember their names. The Apocalypse twins. Have they even said them?
Uriel and
Uriel and something or whatever. Yeah. He's Uriel, right?
Yeah.
So Uriel, he's like the badass of the crew, supposedly, but he's got the the Yarnborn or whatever,
right?
That Thor's axe, which is built to kill Celestials. The dude's traveling to each universe, different universes and different realities, and killing Celestials and taking their seed, which can give someone life. So, and that seed was used to resurrect Apocalypse and also resurrect Archangel,
right?
So he has these 4 seeds, and they've been talking about the 4 horsemen for a while. The big reveal at the end is they use it to basically make like pseudo Archangel type undead versions of Banshee, Grim Reaper, Sentry, Daken, which is awesome.
Yeah.
They look great.
That's a phenomenal team. I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago about how like Banshee's a weird choice for it.
You want Ares.
Because I do want Ares, but I think Banshee's a weird choice, and I think it's a great choice too, because you don't see Banshee coming. Grim Reaper just died, Daken just died, and Sentry just died.
Yeah.
And Banshee's
been
dead.
dead for a while now, man.
Like 3 or 4 years, right?
It's a while. It's a while in comics.
He died in Siege, right?
Yeah, him and Ares both died in Siege.
Him and Ares. Yeah. I want Ares to come back.
But I love the Banshee.
Yeah, I like the Banshee stuff too, but they're all gonna
stick around after.
They're gonna stick around after this.
I hope not.
I don't think Daken's gonna come back as Daken. I think he's just gonna same thing with Grim Reaper.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was thinking about the other day. I was gonna ask you, how likely do you think these personas are gonna stick for a bit, like them being the 4 horsemen? I think
Banshee. I think you're gonna get. You may get a cliche moment between Banshee and Sentry where they snap out of their programming and save the day, but they cost themselves their lives. Like Banshee ends up just being dead again.
Yeah,
and or like Sentry just comes back, right? Sentry comes back and does like he's like Superman.
I think they should kill the crap out of Sentry in this.
Okay, like again.
Yeah, I think it should be.
You don't like Sentry, do you?
No, they really exhaust the crap out of me through like the Bendis Sentry stuff.
Okay,
I liked it. I liked a lot of it, but that's when you start seeing the cracks in the armor of like how far you can use him as just like a nuclear weapon. And especially if we are getting Miracle Man, like he serves the same purpose.
That's true. When Sentry debuted with the Paul Jenkins stuff, were you fooled by the ads that they put out?
See, I was at a comic at the time, and I heard about it after the fact. It was revealed as a hoax. Okay. I read the graphic novel when it came out. Like the first time it was released.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I didn't care about the fooling thing. I thought it was just a great story.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing in the world being published like that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely on that. I really like that. I don't think I was fooled by it. I'm pretty sure I wasn't. But the concept of how we had to forget you, so we all forgot you.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
It was awesome. You know? The one thing I don't like about the Sentry is that when the other guy comes out, he's wearing a hat.
Oh, you don't like the Void with the hat? I like the Void with the hat.
Do you?
I'm a sucker. I'm like, my thing fetish with like the trench coat and the hat. I like any character with a trench coat and a hat.
But it makes no sense to me because he's like, this is your alternate persona, like a Carmen Sandiego thief.
That's fine because I think it's cool because it's so villainy. And it's like it's what's his name? It's like it's invoking the octopus from Spirit.
Okay,
with the kind of like noirish thing. Because like I don't know, man, like. Big Black Shadow Demon has been done so many times, and that's exactly where they went with the Void. Like once he got out of that thing, it was like Black Shadow Demon, of course.
Didn't he become like a Cthulhu monster at the end of like
Siege
man,
or something like that? They always like whenever there's like a Shadow King,
he's an elder god.
Shadow King's the only one I really like that is like a black like shadow creature because he looks cool and he kind of like. You get like cool variations, like him in a samurai suit or like him as a giant robot or whatever. Yeah. But I hate when they just like
fat guy.
Yeah, I hate when they just like eventually like have like a smoke monster come out. Yeah. That's exactly what the Void is.
Easy to draw.
It is really easy to draw.
You could save time on making him just like.
Here's another problem I have with Sentry. I feel like every story that you could tell they've told with Sentry in a very short amount of time. Mm-hmm. Like how many? Because with the Sentry, he only has one real story. He's eventually going to turn into the Void. Right. I mean, they've kind of manufactured and stuck him in that's it. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I think the beauty of like what Remender does with like a character like Archangel. Archangel was stuck in a flux because we loved, him being Archangel, right? And like the blue face and the metal wings. Like, of course, like how can you not like one of the most visually stimulating character renovations in I don't remember how long. Yeah. But eventually the story became like, he cries about his humanity, and eventually he's going to get his humanity back. Right. So they did the way they handled it this time was very, very well done in terms of the way he plays the storyline. I just thought they were going to kill him off again, but in terms of Sentry, like I don't know what they can do with this character anymore. So you think he's just I think he's cannon fodder. He's a nuclear bomb for the storyline, and that's as far as they're going. Because it's going to be interesting to see with the next issue when they actually go into how they operate now. Mm-hmm. Well, it's also the shock factor too of the hero seeing the resurrected Sentry. Wolverine seeing his dead. Absolutely, Wonder Man's probably going to break his pacifism. Yeah. Wonder Man seeing his dead brother, and I'm assuming the Banshees for Havoc. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so. And probably Rogue to some degree also. Mm-hmm. What was I going to say? Oh, I just blanked out. I had a good comment about them. I don't know. Keep on talking. Cyclops is going to show up and just blast everybody away. No. I don't know. I had about the Horseman. It was about the Horseman, yeah. Yeah. How awesome was the Wonder Man scenes? All that stuff was really cool, man. Like I like how he's just like this preachy, like pacifist now. Well, you know what? There was something that was interesting about because when they announced that he was coming on the team and he was a pacifist, I was so disappointed. And I think they were kind of going the right. In my opinion, I think they were going in the kind of a cool way with him in the Bendis run. He's dying. Get him something. I think they were going the right direction when he was like kind of going the villain role, but it got tired really quick with the Revengers. And all that stuff. It was a stupid team, but who's on that team? Sentry was on that team, right? No, it was a bunch of wackadoos. The Sentry from the cartoon show. Sentry, yeah, he was, yeah. There's a bunch of B-level guys, which I was happy about. But when the conversation had with Wolverine, where he's like, I bet you're gonna say I'm a big pussy now because I'm a pacifist, and Wolverine's like, no, I actually think that I wish I could do what you're doing. And when he also appears, and the guy just eats bullets alive when he's coming out. And like it works for whatever reason because they're taking some time with that character who I really do enjoy. Yeah. Oh boy, I clear my throat. I'll talk. Do it. And then in the Hickman main Avengers title, I completely forgot what happened this week. Avengers, a lot of like weird stuff is going on. It opens up with a bunch of box head dudes building a temple. Right. Them like trying to activate something doesn't work, and it's I guess it's happening parallel to what happened in New Avengers last week or last month or whatever, last issue when they had the map makers show up that attacked Latveria. Right. So that happens, and then there's a lot of teleporting going on. Mm-hmm. The whole lot of teleporting going on. Yeah, there's a lot of teleporting going on. What was their main threat they were fighting against, though? There was a conflict they were going for.
You know what?
AIM Island or something.
Yeah.
There's all the activations of stuff and all that weird energy stuff going on. And
there's something in a pod now
that AIM has.
That they let loose somehow. It's a really heady book. It's a good book. I think New Avengers had my favorite scene this week though.
Which one?
The dinner with Victor Von Doom.
Oh yeah.
And Kristoff and how
and Reed, man.
And Reed and like it's I like the point.
And Strange.
Right. And I like the point at which Reed's relationship with Doom is now in Marvel comic books, where it's very like, I respect you. I know you're going to try to kill me at some point, but I still respect you, Victor Von Doom. You're a weird guy, but I like it. You know?
We can't have this conversation without talking about FF then.
That's where I was going for.
But before we do that, before we actually go into that, like that dinner table scene is really great. And like, it also shows you how ridiculous Doom is. And boy, oh boy, who draws New Avengers?
Deodato, I think.
Yes, in this issue, it was Deodato. He just came on. No, he drew Avengers, didn't he? I don't know, whatever. Regardless, he drew I love the chunky Doom.
Yeah,
like it looks like it really is like a suit of armor.
Yeah.
But that Doctor Strange exchange he did with him was so cool and so offhanded. Like I wish I had the quote in front of me, but basically it was like Doctor Strange saying like, "Don't screw with us." Like,
yeah.
He's like, "It'd be in your best interest not to mess with us. We're pretty badass dudes now."
Yeah.
And also the fact that most of Fantastic Four storyline has been them jettisoned through space, and the fact that Reed has been on Earth doing all types of crap, and him revealing to him, to Doom, that basically doesn't sleep, that he spends his time sleeping, doing the New Avengers Illuminati crap.
Right. Like he's going from the Fantastic Four spaceship in outer space to Earth to deal with like the Black Panther stuff.
Yeah, and easily explainable would be that he had Space Jam, but now we've put that out of the equation.
Right. I think what you're talking about is Doctor Strange is like, I know it's not really cool, but my compliments to the chef on this meal.
Yeah,
like
but then
you're not supposed to know, you're not supposed to know where it came from or how it was made, but you're happy it's here. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
And then with Reed asking Kristoff like how he's doing. And
doesn't care what you do.
Yeah, and then like Doom just like flying off the handle and like banging on the table.
Because and also I think they're eventually going to be leading into him joining the Illuminati in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Because like this was the beginning of like, you're doing something behind my back. I gotta know what's going on. Like what I want a piece of the pie.
I thought I was smart too.
Yeah, and he should be with them. With that. They had also an issue of Fantastic Four that came out this week, which, in my opinion, was one of the best issues that Fraction's done on that side of the book.
Was it? Do you think it was a retcon?
So, all right. So, we were going to go into that territory.
Yeah.
So, this is the big, always the Doom mask. You talking about that? The mask theory?
Well,
and also the changing of time.
Well, yeah, because now last issue, like the Fantastic Four are stuck. Like they can go at any point in time. They want at any place they want, and they've kind of and like this. I think this also very much has to do with the end of Age of Ultron, also because the Fantastic Four are very guilty of doing stuff they're not supposed to do within time.
Yeah.
So as evident by that first storyline where they go to that weird planet and they're worshipped as gods, and it turns out that it was Reed showing up in the Stone Age and painting his own picture on a wall, to set something else up. So like Reed's a manipulator. Because for him, it's science.
Can't wait till he turns into a bad guy.
You never know. And in this issue, it was the last issue set up for Ben saying, "I screwed up with Victor's experiment."
Yeah.
So we're gonna go and check it out.
He smudged a piece of his mystical graffiti that he put on the wall.
Right. He ruined the calculations and like all the computer stuff, and then saw a black room with neon paint and just like smudged like some magic stuff.
And that's possibly the reason why when he opened up a hellmouth in the campus, why he got messed up.
Right. So
this issue, what it's doing is, because with his guilt and everything like that, Reed allows Thing to travel back with him as a kind of like time ghost, to observe the situation and maybe fix the situation. But first, we're going to see how it is. Little do they know is that every Doom from every reality comes to this scene, like they call it the Nativity, and kind of defend and constantly watch the birth of Doom. They worship it. They think it's this incredible thing.
Right.
So Doom...
He was like Doom Prime.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, like, we're going to see like us transform. They love it. And they have a conversation back and forth. Like there's a good-looking one and and one of the crazier looking ones. The Ultimate Doom's there. Doctor Strange Fate's there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
Strange Fate.
So they, that's Strange Fate from Amalgam. So why? Think of metal?
I think it's just such a great name.
It is a good name. But so long story short, Thing of course is a thing, and he decides to do Collaborant time at the worst time, and he collaborates the chair that does this, and
he pushes Doom out of the way,
and then all the Dooms show up with their guns and like, what are you doing? Right. And basically, young Victor Von Doom is like, I love these guys. You know, you guys are assholes. I love the Dooms. Like I know this is a good, like it's like looking in a mirror.
Like of course they're there for me. Like why? That's me. Why wouldn't I be?
So I mean. I like that. I think it's fun. I think it's.
But then you see him in the next panel with a scar already in the armor.
Yeah.
Right. And then one of the alternate Dooms is the one that burns his face into the mask.
Well, I think what they're saying in that thing is that I don't know about that. I think that, which I think they're going into something really cool with it, and I'll tell you in a second. You know how there was like that one Doom that didn't have that had like a perfectly good face, right? It was a good looking Doom. I think they just created that reality.
Okay.
For that particular Doom. But when they show like him go to Tibet and he's doing the mask thing and it's all like Dooms, I think they are a weirdo group of monks that do worship Dr. Doom through it. And that's why because they never really, they've shown them with the green, cloaks and everything like that and wearing some degree of armor, but they have never showed them like these guys wear like Dr. Doom stuff.
Right.
But there's every time someone does a Doom storyline, there's always the question of, are they going to approach it as a small baby scar, a big scar, and did he really burn his face when he put the thing on?
Right.
And they did this, Fraction strictly said, like, big ass scar, this guy's completely out of his mind, burned his face off, and he did one of my favorite lines about Doom as their finale, that Doom is the inevitable.
Right. Yeah.
And just like how you said before with the new Avengers bit, how he's like, eventually he's going to end up like screwing shit up.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful that he is. And if you're reading a Fantastic Four storyline, you know that their biggest storyline they can do is either Galactus or Doom, and both are inevitable.
Yeah, and
Dr. Doom's next herald of Galactus. Watch.
That'd be awesome. The Doom stuff that Marvel has done in the past few years has been tremendous.
And it's always great.
I like seeing Doom in the Hickman's run with the white costume.
Oh, hell
and like saving the day. Basically with Nathaniel Richards.
And hanging out with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, and then showing up again, but the thing that Fraction really hammered home in this issue is the fact that he's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When
they drive home the mask thing.
Yeah, the mask thing, and then Ben Grimm feeling upset that, he could have cost this guy. He's like, I could have saved this a lot of time. And then Reed saying, like, I could have done the same thing. I knew his calculations were wrong, but he would have never listened to me because he's nuts.
Yeah, and that's a testament to Fraction because he's saying all that, it's dialogue boxes of Reed telling Thing that against the backdrop of watching, Doom's like, come on, put that hot mask on me.
Yeah,
it was just like the stupidest thing you could do.
Right, so he's completely mangled under that thing now.
Yeah,
with Cannon, he's completely
like, why would you do that to yourself? Like you came to. That's the thing that I think is. They touch on it, but I think they really drove it home is that, like, me as a reader, I never thought of like the Doom thing as like, oh, like blame Richards or whatever, or like, oh, what a tragedy this guy went through. Like, screw him. I always believe that he's an asshole. But like the fact they're like driving home that this dude is insane.
Right.
That he actually went through this because the dude was a vain person, got scarred up. He went to go seek absolution through it and burned his face off in the process.
Right. And becomes even more vain.
Yeah.
And saying like, all right, this is how it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm great.
Yeah. And while encasing himself in a gigantic suit of armor.
And a little pistol.
And a little tiny pistol and a dress.
Yeah. A little skirt.
The best. That's why I still hold that almost every Doom storyline I completely enjoy. And especially they had like a running joke in that issue with the who dares touch me?
Yeah.
Like, who's touching you, man?
You, bro.
Like, they had all of them, like, come, that sound like, who dares? Dare me. Who dares?
I dare you.
I love him. I think he's like my two favorite villains of all time. 3 villains of all time are Doom, Norman Osborn, and the Green Goblin costume, and Red Skull.
Okay.
Those are my 3 guys.
Yeah. I'll go Red Skull, Doom. Third one, not too sure of.
I mean, like, I would throw it, like, I love Thanos.
Yeah.
But I don't think there has been that many great Thanos storylines. And that's why I say Red Skull also, because as much as Red Skull is awesome, he hasn't had incredible storylines all the time. I think the Uncanny Avengers stuff is the is the move into the right place with his.
Yeah, and
his
the
legacy.
the Brubaker Cap stuff was good.
Absolutely. I think that's what helped cement it in my mind that the guys are awesome, bad guy.
Yeah. Now
We should do bring on the bad guys episode.
meaning,
That we should talk about our favorite bad guys, which I think we've done before, but
yeah,
probably helps.
why not?
Yeah.
We can do fan fiction. We can do another challenge.
Fan Fiction Friday or whatever we do.
Between write this person into that.
How about we write our own rock fan fiction about RoboCop and Green Goblin?
So I forget there was like some casting news this week too. I think
Was there?
there's something with Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, they cut out Mary Jane in the movie.
Right. It's been occupying my brain the entire week though. PlayStation 4.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It has been.
I'm pretty psyched about
You heard
it.
about Xbox yesterday?
No.
They scaled back on the DRM thing.
Good.
But it's such a backpedal. I think they
Yeah.
kind of shot. I think they kind of screwed the pooch when it came to.
Yeah.
Am I impeaching onto your territory? Okay.
Are
Cool.
you guys gonna talk about PlayStation 4? Did you
No, it's kind of
Yeah.
no, it's kind of driving me crazy because I'm a very impatient person
Uh-huh.
and it drives me a little insane. Like I could wait for PlayStation 4 until it actually arrives.
It's
and
here.
It's
Yeah.
here, and like I see like the games, but it's driving me crazy. I don't have PlayStation 3 right now, and all I want to do is play Last of Us
Okay. Yeah.
because I heard it's the best thing in the world. What are you
And
gonna say?
it's the last game, last major title that's going to be released.
Not true.
It is true
Not so true.
for PlayStation 3.
No, we still have tons of games coming out.
That's the father-daughter game, right?
yeah. There's
Yeah.
tons of games coming out. There's a whole
check that
slate
out.
until
They're saying it is the last advanced PlayStation style game. Like this is the last example of what they could do with this
you
the
got the
hardware.
next God of War coming out.
I don't think it's going to be good.
Come from gamer number one over here.
He's like 15 tech shows on the network.
I like Wii Sports. I like Wii
There's nothing
Bowling.
wrong with Wii Sports.
Oh.
Luigi U came out today.
Oh yeah. What came out?
Luigi U.
U.
Luigi
U, bro.
Luigi.
Luigi
Gotta get
U.
tonight.
I don't have
U.
a joke about that. check the joke.
But I kind of want to pre-order it. I think I may pre-order in a couple of weeks.
It's 400, right?
It's 400 and it's dropping on December 31st.
I really want to wait a little bit longer. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but
Yeah.
when's it dropping?
I think December 31st. European release is, I
Yeah.
believe, November 13th.
I'm gonna ask Santa for that.
But I don't think they're doing the Christmas thing. I don't think they want people trampled.
No, you can't, especially for a system launch.
Yeah.
Release it on Black Friday.
Yeah. Oh my God. That'd be the worst thing. It's a beautiful looking system.
It is a great looking system. I am psyched about it.
Backwards compatible.
Yep, that's exactly what. That's why I'm trying to wait for Last of Us so I can get my freaking PS4 so I can play it on it.
You still get the Blu-ray.
Yep.
You don't have to be online to play,
Nope.
which is beautiful. And I think that's one thing that Xbox screwed up with.
I don't think people were pissed off about the fact that it demanded it. I think the fact that Xbox demanded
Right.
the online play is why it.
Yeah.
What are you smirking about? Yeah,
It's not true.
Let's
That's
talk
not true.
about
What?
this.
You're
not
not
true.
upset about that?
It's not demanding online play. They
Now
never
it's
did.
not.
No, they never did.
Chill out, Major Nelson.
They never did.
This is from the president on his
They never
keynote.
demanded online play.
He said himself when he defended it the next day when he shot himself in the foot. When they got him,
every
after his
24
keynote-
hours it pings home. That doesn't necessarily mean that it needs online play. It needs
Yeah, but
internet for their services.
for their services of checking that you're not using a used game.
That's not true either. That's not true.
What's true about it?
Also, you know what's up to the Sony
So
has
you-
the same
so
DR
when- wait,
By the
hold
way,
on a
Sony
second.
has a very similar DRM. It just all the fanboys have totally forgotten about
Because
Sony's
you want
DRM.
because you do want some ability.
No, it's the
to-
same thing. They're saying for used
Now
games.
it is.
No, Sony's saying for used games, it's up to the publisher, not them.
Now they're saying that they didn't say that when
Sony
they
said that
first
from
said-
day one.
No, the Xbox wasn't saying that either. They were saying straight up, if you want to buy if I want to lend the game to Rich, he had to buy that license as
Not
well.
true.
Oh,
Not
you're out of your mind. You're completely out of your mind.
I want a show where you guys argue about video games. I would
Not
like
true.
to see that.
He can't
It's
talk to
very
me.
entertaining.
Stop reading Reddit. Stop going on Reddit because they're all wrong.
Because you have an insider.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay, please.
I'm just telling you, it's,
It's,
a lot of,
So
it's
wait,
a lot of
hold on a second.
misconceptions.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
His
You're
insight.
not a gamer. If Xbox came out, Xbox came out
Mhm.
under the restrictions that it originally imposed and now have
Yeah.
pulled back on because they're insane, you would still buy that
I
system?
pre-ordered both.
Incredible. You
No, the
make me
restrictions.
nauseous.
The restrictions that you're talking about. Which restriction? You're talking about which one exactly?
Either
talking
or.
about
I don't
Xbox
care.
You're talking about the always on, right?
I can care less about the always on. My concern was the weirdo rules they have about buying, selling, trade games between me and Rich. I can care about the.
Just us two.
No, their DRM policy was crappy, but it's not what everybody thought it was.
So what is it?
It's the same exact policy that Sony has. It's up to the publisher.
So what is it?
So if EA,
they did not say that from the get-go.
But if let's say you're on PlayStation, right, and EA decides you cannot give games to your friends, guess what? You cannot give games to your friends.
Yeah, but who's going to do that? It's bad PR for you if from the get-go.
But they said it during that conference. They said, hey, by the way, DRM is up to the publisher. We're not going to dictate what happens with DRM.
Did Xbox say that out the gate? Especially when
Xbox
they had in their keynote? No.
Xbox did not do a good job at pretty much saying the same exact thing.
Because they scaled back. That's PR.
I don't think Microsoft expected the beautiful PS4 launch either.
No. I mean, I think it was a happy accident. The fact that Xbox was totally destroying themselves.
Yeah, which is a shame too. Because
you're essentially killing a gaming community, and you're manufacturing this old weirdo social media crap they're trying to do.
Right.
Especially in their first appearance, all they did was do all the dumb. They just focused on all the other stuff it does except for gaming.
That fan reaction to the PS4 debut is ridiculous.
He's just shaking his head. It's driving him crazy.
I think everybody went bananas. This is also the first time we've talked about video games on the show.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Yeah. You know who Andrew's insider is?
You.
Hideo Kojima.
Oh. No, that's not guy.
He's going to be in the new Metal
Gear.
Snake. Are you upset that John's yelling at you about this stuff?
No, not upset at all.
Yeah, you are.
You're on Reddit way too long.
I'm not reading any Reddit gaming stuff. I don't even subscribe to the Reddit gaming thing, so I don't know what you're talking about.
But it is
same
funny
garbage
how
that you're reading.
People are freaking out because we've been covering it for weeks, and when we kind of leaked a lot of the Xbox information, it got picked up on every news site, and everybody had it wrong. Everybody had everything wrong. People are reporting the news wrong. They're reporting the wrong things about Sony and Xbox.
Whatever. But the fact of the matter is that Xbox did an awful job maintaining that wrongness.
You're absolutely right.
And that is the job of a company like that to handle. So
you're absolutely right.
If you're telling me like, oh, have faith in the product, go buy it, spend $500 on, why would I do that? So they did everything possibly wrong, and they're gonna suffer because of it.
I think the product is going to be phenomenal. You want my opinion? I don't think at the end of the day, for first quarter when the results come out for this Christmas season, there will be it's going to be neck and neck. There's going to be no effect on their brand.
Absolutely not. I think that it's going to be a complete wash. I think it's still going to sell. I think it's going to move units, but nowhere as close to the PS4. Lower price point. And there is so much.
We'll have a bet. How about we have a bet?
Absolutely.
$100.
Gentleman's bet.
I don't even make $100. Start paying me $100. I'll bet you $100. No, we'll do a gentleman's bet for now.
Okay.
Bottle of champagne.
And we'll do a bottle of champagne.
And
my biceps bigger than yours. I will do we'll come up with something interesting.
Okay.
I will gladly do a bet about this.
I think that'll be fun.
This is excellent. I want to see the show. I want to see you just argue with Andrew and Andrew argue with John about video games.
Because it's insane talking to him about these things.
And then
I won't talk on air, but I have certain opinions about Andrew.
I can't say a lot.
I know that.
You guys are so disagreeable. It's like the new Odd Couple.
Oh, God.
GFQ Odd Couple. There's a pitch for a show. GFQ Odd Couple.
No, I wish I could say it. I'll tell you off the air.
Okay. I can say a lot of stuff on
Tony Microsoft is this guy.
Tony Microsoft. It drives me insane. Andrew between these two shows drives me insane. And it's not just an on-air thing. It's off air too. Like I've said this since I've known you. I don't know how I know you. I don't know how we put up each other for so long.
This is very interesting. This is gonna spill into the next show.
Get out of here. I probably will. I mean, like
next up, Linux Larry.
There's nothing about the Xbox at this point when it comes to me spending $500, $400 on whatever that makes me want to buy that system. And I love my Xbox to death. Yeah. I love it. I use the crap. I sold my PlayStation. But there is nothing about that. It is a weirdo, scary little machine.
Wait till it's out.
It's Big Brother.
Without the Connect.
Wait till it comes out.
Just like it was the pomposity of their performance, which was saying like, "Hey, I know what you guys want. You want Netflix. You want YouTube, and guess what? You want social media? Don't you want social media watching you?
It's like the
doing Halo faces.
Remember that funny energy drink commercial?
Yeah,
that's the fake energy drink. All right, we got to wrap it up.
One more thing before we. Another thing that kind of drove me nuts about it too was the fact that PS4 showed some really cool video game stuff.
Yeah,
and like that shit with the dog. The Call of Duty dog, as that being their marquee thing, and then that Planetfall, whatever Fallen Hammer, or whatever thing that they're doing, nothing looks like. They all look like Killzone. Everything like what PlayStation was doing like years ago. I think they finally picked up their slack. And
what?
I was very anti PS3 for a long time.
Yeah, we both were. We did not get that system. We both got the system for the same reason, for Metal Gear 4, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
and then after that, all of a sudden,
4 games for it, I think.
After that, Sony woke up and they were like, "Oh, by the way, we rock," Yeah. And I have a ton of games for PS3.
Yeah. No, I don't get it. I have a Vita.
I think for this one, you get the eye too built into the system.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be like one of those weird people that show up in the Apple store, like the old people, put the tape on them.
Hello.
Yeah, put the tape over my camera.
And the Vita, you're gonna get the Vita.
I'm glad I have a Vita because that's gonna be really cool.
That's a big thing with the PS4. Yeah. All right, we got to wrap it up. This has been another episode of Behind the Counter. I'm Rich Stambolian.
Screw you, Microsoft.
Good night.